Sticky Fishy Fishing.
Yo, what up guys? This is Sticky Fishy Fishing. In this episode, I'm gonna do a run through of all me rod and reels. Few people been asking for me to do it, so I finally got the time to get around and do it. So okay guys, let's run through all me rod and reels and I'll tell you what I use them for as well. Okay guys, check it out. Alright guys, gonna do a run through the rod and reel setups. We'll start with the lightest and the shortest rods and work our way up to the bigger rods. Alright, this one here is a XT Tavia 722 2 to 6 pound, and it has a Shimano Nasco 1000 with 4 pound Vanish Ultra 2 fluorocarbon line. This rod here I usually just use for crankbaiting for brim, just throwing hard bodies. As you can see there, got a little crankbait on it. That's just me crankbait rod. Very nice rod, just throw lures out and just slow wind it. So that's the crankbait setup. The next one is the same rod, another Tavia, but it's got a Shimano Sedona XT 2500 with 6 pound Sunline Siglon braid, and this is a plastic rod, so I just use it for throwing plastics or brim and stuff like that. So that is a plastic setup rod. This one here is just another one I use for plastics. It's just the Daiwa Hyper 742 ULFS. And yeah, this is just another plastic rod, and on that I have a Daiwa Air LT 2500 with 6 pound Sunline Siglon braid on that, and that's just another plastic setup. So I got a couple of plastic setups there, so I can just put a different plastic on each one when I'm fishing. This rod here is a Primal D16 Vapor 7 foot 2 to 5 kilo, and on that I have a Daiwa Excella 2500 TW with Platypus Bionic X9 braid in 10 pound. This one I just use for flathead fishing, bass, all that kind of stuff. Light snapper fishing with plastics, just a light plastic setup, bit of an all-rounder. And then we'll move up into the heavier rods. This one is a Shimano Raider Snapper 702 4 to 7 kilo, and on that I have a Daiwa Air LT 4000C with 25 pound Major Craft Denga braid, and this is just a snapper plastic rod, just I use for throwing plastics for snapper, vibing for dew, stuff like that. This is the one that my nephew always uses when you see us in the boat snapper fishing. So just a snapper plastic setup. And this one is my snapper plastic setup that you'll see me using in my videos. This one is a Samaki Archer 701 SH Lewis Special, and on that I have a Daiwa Kinks LT 4000C with 20 pound Suffix 832 braid, and that's just my snapper plastic rod, and also throwing vibes and stuff for dew and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a good plastic rod, plenty of grunt in that one, so you can get them up off the bottom. So there's the lighter rods, 3 brim setups, crankbait, 2 plastics, a 10 pound all-rounder, and 2 20 pound snapper plastic rods. Alright, now we'll go up to the 50-pound setups. This one here is a Daiwa Saltus BW70MH PE5 Daiwa Saltus rod, and on that I have a Daiwa Saltus Nero 4500H, which means high speed, and on that one I got 50-pound Major Craft Denga braid, and this is what I usually just use out the boat for botting bashing, live baiting for dew in the boat inside the bay. Sometimes I'll throw liveys out on it for tuna, stuff like that. I'll do a bit of everything with that rod, but they're a nice rod. This rod here is a heavy rod. It's a Sambo Teros 6'6", 20 to 40 pound, with a Fluger Salt 8000 reel with 50-pound braid on it. I can't remember what braid's on that. I think it might be dogtooth braid, but this one, yeah, is just another bottom bashing setup. A little bit of jigging, live baiting, bit of an all-rounder. That's mostly what my nephew uses when we go fishing in the boat. And then we'll go up to this one. This is another Daiwa Saltus BW SJ802XH PE8. So it's just an 8-foot, kind of like a popping rod. It's real stiff, so yeah, I sort of just use that for throwing poppers and stick baits and stuff like that off the rocks and in the boat. And on that I have a Daiwa BG 6500, but I don't have any braid on it at the moment, but I will be putting 80-pound braid on that, just in between re-spooling it with new line. So yeah, that's all just a popper stick baiting rod. I even use that actually for live baiting too, for longtail tuna in the boat. And this one here is another Daiwa Saltus. I have a few of these rods. Daiwa Saltus BW962HFS, line rate PE2 to 5. So this is a 9'6" rod. This is what I use for spinning off the rocks for longtail, and I also live bait with it off the rocks as well. And on that I have a Daiwa Saltus LTD 5000 with 32 kilo WFT kg strong line braid. So this is just a spinning rod off the rocks for longtail / live baiting rod. And sometimes I throw plastics and stuff with dew and stuff with it. So there's the heavier setups, the 50-pound, 80-pound and 70-pound. Alright, now we'll go up to the longer rods. This one here is the one that you'll see me use in my videos for throwing lures for tailor. This one is a Shimano Katana 902 shore spin, 6 to 8 kilo. And on that I have a Shimano Solstice 4500 FI, and on that is 20-pound Sunline Siglong PE braid. What I use just for throwing hard bodies for tailor and metals and stuff off the rocks and beach, and sometimes I'll throw plastics off the rocks with it for snapper as well. But you would have seen that in a lot of my videos. And this rod here is a Pen Prevail. This is the Pen Prevail 9-foot 8 to 12 kilo Pen Prevail rod. This is what I used to always use before I got the Daiwa Saltus rod for throwing lures for tuna and stuff off the rocks, but I still use it sometimes. I don't have a reel for that because you'll probably notice sometimes I have different reels on different rods, so I usually just use my other reels on different rods. So that's just a spare 9-foot rod. that I got, and I got another Pen Prevail here. This one is the 10 foot 10 to 15 kilo, and this is the one that I use off the rocks bait fishing for snapper. And on that I just have a Pen 650 SSM with 25-pound Sniper clear line, and this I just use for yeah, bait fishing off the rocks for snapper, just throwing floating baits in the wash, throwing baits out with paternoster rigs, and sometimes my nephew uses this for drummer fishing as well. Also good for fishing for groper. And I've got another rod here. I got this one given to me, I haven't used it yet. This is a Daiwa Sea Bass, 11 foot, medium heavy, 7 to 15 kilo. I got that rod given to me, I haven't used it yet. I'll probably just use that for bait fishing off the beach and stuff, for tailor salmon and dew, stuff like that. Maybe off the rocks, not too sure yet. But there we go, there's the next size rods up. Alright, let's get into the rockin' surf rods. This one here you would have seen me use in some of my videos. This is a Abu Garcia Rayrex, 10 foot 6, 1 to 5 kg. It's a real light whippy rod, and on that I just got a Pen Fierce 2,500 with and on that I just got some Berkeley 6-pound mono line. This one I just use for light surf fishing and fishing for brim off the breakwall and stuff. Yeah, just a light beach rod setup, 6-pound. Very whippy. You can't really put too much weight on it when you cast it, so you use that on off the beach on the calmer days when you can just get away with a lighter sinker. This rod here, this is what I use in all my beach fishing videos. This is a Shimano Power Surf 1202L, 4 to 7 kilo, 12 foot rod, 4 to 7 kilo, and on that I just got an Alvi 500B with 9-pound Snyder clear line mono. And yeah, all my latest beach fishing videos, this is what I use all the time. That's me beach fishing setup. And here I've got my Ludwig setup. This one here is a Wilson Blackfish 10 foot 6, and on that I have a Alvi 47 float, or also known as a Alvi 47 GZ, and on that I got 12-pound Snyder clear line mono. And yeah, that's just me Ludwig setup off the breakwall and the ocean rocks. And this rod here is a Wilson live fibre trophy 10 foot 6 medium, and on that I have a Alvi Aventura 50 with 15-pound Snyder clear line mono. And this rod here is my drummer rod that I use off the rocks for drummer, and sometimes I'll use it off the beach for tailor it and salmon and stuff like that, but mostly drummer and brim off the rocks. So there's me surf and rock rods. Alright guys, now I'm going to show you my baitcaster and overhead setups. Let's start with this one here. This is a Storm Adventure 4 to 10-pound 6 foot 6, and on that I have a Rapala Naja 200 with 16-pound Sunline Siglon braid. And this one here I just use for bass fishing, yellow belly, and yeah, just that kind of stuff. You would have seen me using it in my yellow belly videos at Wyinga Dam, just jigging vibes. And yeah, I just use that for casting small divers, vibes, heavier weight plastics and stuff, yellow belly, bass, small cod. It's a nice little setup, that. Then we'll go up to the next one. I have a Shimano Raider River Raider 631, 3 to 6 kilo, and on that I have a Savage Gear Black 100 with 20 pound Sunline Siglon braid, and this one here I just use for 20 pound. I use this when I go up the Tweed Heads fishing for casting lures just for mangrove jack and small trevally and stuff like that. Yeah, just throwing hard bodies and plastics for jack, but you can also use this for smaller cod as well. It's a bit of an all-rounder, that one, but yeah, 20 pound setup. And this one here is another Raider. This one is an Ian Miller Shimano Raider 2 Barra Magnum 5'9", 6 to 10 kilo, and on that I have a Shimano Kanan with 30 pound Daiwa J braid, and this one I use for cod fishing, for just trolling in my kayak, throwing spinner baits, all that kind of stuff, and also use it as a heavier rod for mangrove jack when I go up the Gold Coast fishing, but mostly cod fishing and stuff like that. And this one here is a Savage Gear Black Savage 7'3" big lure, which is a Savage Gear swim baiting rod, and on that I have a Shimano Corvallis CVL 400, and on that I got Sunline Siglon braid in a 40 pound. So this one's just more like a swim bait rod, throwing swim baits for cod, real big spinner baits and stuff like that. But what I mostly use it for is live baiting in the bay for dew. I love using this with live bait. Caught some good dew on this rod. But yeah, it's just a swim bait slash dew rod, cod, dew. And this thing here is a jigging rod that I bought for micro jigging for snapper. This is a Gamoku Aojo 6'3", PE free, and this can take up to 300 gram jigs. Look how light it is, it's super light. And on that I have a Shimano Torum 14 HG with 30 pound Suffix X8 braid, and it's got a real long butt on it. Yeah, this one I just bought it for jigging for snapper and stuff like that, but I haven't got to use it much, so I'm gonna have to start using that out in the deeper water, doing some jigging. I've used it a few times, caught a couple of little snapper on it, but yeah, that's micro jigging rod slash snapper jigging rod. And then we'll go up into the game rods that I got, which I barely ever use because I never go game fishing. The rod is a Penn Senator 5'6", 10 to 15 kilo with a Penn GLD 30 lever drag on it, and this has got 15 kilo moi moi line on it, and that's just a trolling rod when I go out in the boat, troll, skirts, divers, live bait, stuff like that. And this one's just the heaviest setup. This is a Shimano Backbone Elite BBE 24 kilo 5'7", and on that I have a Shimano TLD 2 speed with 24 kilo moi moi line. So just a 15 kilo and a 24 kilo trolling setup. So that's me Baitcasters and overheads. We've gone through the light spin, medium spin, surf rock, Baitcaster overheads. That's about it. That's all the rods I use. I actually have a few other rods, but I didn't show them because I don't use them much. I probably got about another 10 rods. They're just old ones. Some of them need fixing, some I just don't use. I'll probably give them away to some kids that need fishing rods to fish with. But anyway guys, I just went through the whole lot. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Sticky Fishy Fishing.